Hello, hello.
Does that mean you can hear me? What? Okay. Are we gonna start? Are we rolling? Is this real? We're rolling. Bam! Ladies and gentlemen, you're at the NAMM show. You are stuck here with us at least till 6 o'clock. And you're here for two reasons. You want either free gear or free swag. And right here at the McDSP booth, we got it all. And we have famous clientele to tell you about our products in some completely non-biased way. I swear. Anyway, first the spiel, where McDSP will make plugins like the 6050 Ultimate Channel Strip. Over 25 modules of EQ, compression, noise gates, filters, saturators, all in one plugin. Bam! I gotta love that. We also have the SA2 dialogue processor. I know you're thinking, I don't do dialogue, but if you got dialogue, vocals, that crazy synth track, that guitar player who insists on using Pro Tools to mix his own stuff before he sends it to the front of house, yeah, the SA2 dialogue processor is for him. Anyway, enough about that. Who do you really want to see? How about Sebastian ROCAsound? If you thought you had the huevos to mix a 100-piece orchestra with a bunch of synths, or one of these upcoming bands that's like they're a real band, but they have way too many synths, or maybe you want to like do some like giant medley of every Disney soundtrack ever done between Steamboat Willie to Star Wars, who do you call? The man right next to me. Give it up for Sebastian. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Thank you. But really, just come here because there's going to be a free plug-in raffle, so forget about me. Awesome. Great to be here. That was a perfect introduction. Thanks, Colin. So anyway, we have several loops up here. Fans. No, so we're going to try out different amazing plugins on different types of tracks. So were we going to start on the loop?
Whatever you want.
All right.
You're in charge, man. I just have a microphone.
All right.
No turntable.
Let's see what we got. Hip hop. All right. So we got kind of a hip hop electronic loop there. I guess one of the basic things that you started and everyone else kind of copied was that he came out with the first low pass, high pass filter that was automatable for Pro Tools. So I'm sure all of you know it. Do you guys know Filterbank? Well, that one is like my number one for filter sweeps and all that. Obviously you know it, but let's just put it up for fun. So, where do we have Filterbank?
Under EQ.
Huh?
That's under EQ, I think.
Oh. You should put yourself under manufacturer. It looks so pimp, like DSP.
I think we do.
Okay. So, obviously, this one's super easy. If you want a DJ kind of cut off, it's super smooth, kind of a Moog. Aye. So the minus 24 dB is very Moog Kaskade filter, kind of ladder filter, sorry. 18 is a little more subtle. 12 is very Oberheimy, if you like that sound. 6 is just kind of clean EQ sweep. So just as a basic thing, like if you had any knob controller or whatever, you're doing a DJ gig, whatever, just turn on the automation. Sorry, one more step. Choose low pass frequency or high pass frequencies in the automation window. Boom. So, you know, just great smooth filtering. Like even on a whole track, it sounds amazing. Okay, so that's your basic filtering, but here's a really cool trick that I use with this. You can dial in almost to mimic an LFO. If you go into the page where we did that sweep, and you see the automation here. In Pro Tools Grid, maybe we're not on grid, but say that everything's to click. If you select a section of audio and then go to these tools here and choose like triangle, and then you come in and do this. Maybe even faster, like on 16th notes. It's a really, really cool way to dial in like an LFO type of thing. So watch what happens with the filter when this happens. Crank the resonance, because this is what gives it the vibe. Check it out. You know, so I mean, obviously that's extreme, but you can do some really, really, really cool tremolo type effects. The random one is very, very cool, because if you just do it subtly, you just get kind of cool. If that was time synced, you would get, you know, it would become like an instant arpeggiator. So very cool. A lot of people don't think about that one with your plugin, but it's amazing. So that's a cool trick for that. And actually, staying on this, my personal favorite plugin is the Futz Box. I mean, if you guys win anything today, if it were me, that one is. Okay, so we already demolished this track with this, so let's stay on it. Let's put in a Futz Box after the filter. That would be in harmonic, right?
Yes, sir.
So this thing is just every possible combination of destruction you can imagine. Let's actually take most of the stuff off. Filters off, noise generator off, gate off, EQ off. Let's just kind of focus on this distortion right here. So, well, actually this one's really cool. This is a lo-fi distortion. Mimics kind of a Commodore kind of sounds, like lo-fi. This is the bit reducer. Okay, that might seem almost funny, but check this out. The cool thing about this plugin is that you got a dry and wet mix. So if you actually introduce a little bit of the original mix, it changes everything, because it's like you got a parallel lo-fi distorter. So check this out. That's kind of cool because it's almost like side chaining the distortion. So that's what I love about this plugin, because if you pass something through a distortion like Amplitude or like SansAmp or everything, you kind of have to commit to it just sounding lo-fi the whole time. They don't really have a lot of like mix wet and dry. So this one is very cool for that. So let's make it less extreme. Take the rate off. So even if we just focus on this, then it has a normal type of distortion, which is more of a guitar distortion. So let's choose like a fuzz. Okay, so you also have filters in here. So if you were to bypass this filter and just have the normal track, You can tame a lot of what's happening here. Let's see what's at the beginning of this. All right, already, without it, with it, it's a lot cooler from the get-go. All right, so let's put that fuzz back on this. So what's cool about this is that if that seems too extreme, you have two ways of controlling it. You can go into it with a high-pass filter so that it's not too annoying. Or you can do less on this side and then kind of cut the frequency on this side. So this is key because the thing is that you approach sound design as an engineer, Colin does, because a lot of the guys like Fab Filter and like all the Vengeance guys and all that, they kind of approach this stuff as DJs. So they say, okay, basically use this to distort the track, use this to high pass and low pass and cut off and whatever, and use this at the end as a compressor. But what Colin did is that he gave you two different ways to kind of, I would call it multi-band distortion compression EQ. So if you really wanted to make this cool, I mean, I'm just messing around here, but if you really wanted to make it like a sound that's usable, you've got these bands here to really narrow into it. Okay, so personally, if I heard this is the first time I'm hearing this track, but if I wanted to use this on a record, this is what I would do. I would make it gritty. Then I would take some of the high end off. Then I would crank it. Then I would find with the EQ section a nice bump section where only the frequencies that I want come out. Then I would take that and probably sample it and slice it up. But see, you've got every possibility here of choosing what gets filtered, what doesn't get filtered, what you're cutting, everything. So just the sound design possibilities are incredible. And of course, all of this is automatable. So what that means is that you can actually use the gate to do any side chaining kind of feel. Like you can take that whole thing and gate it so that, sorry, the automation's cutting out at the end there. But let's take this off, let's take this off. The gate's another great component. That's just with the filters. Let me choose a different section because the automation's ramping there. This is just the warmth of these filters. So the gate is really cool because if you add a little bit of distortion to Anyway, if you do any of this kind of stuff, it's just cool. Like you can take that, slice it, do whatever you want. There's just millions of possibilities. So that's kind of what I would do to a track like that. Then this is probably just a rock drum track. You could also use FutzBox for that, kind of to make it sound like a culture vulture or something like that. But even your compressor, like your CB2 or the ultimate compressor, but even if you just took compressor bank and you wanted to make that just pump and be kind of cool, this is a great compressor for drums. It has a really, really fast release, very SSL-like. So if you wanted to kind of make this almost sound like a sampled loop or something, I would do something like this. And this bite is almost like a transient designer that's built in. So the bite alone, at this extreme of compression, and I mean, dude, we're at NAMM. If you heard this in a studio, it would probably sound a lot cooler. But listen to what happens when you take the bite down. There's a lot less snare, a lot less kick. So I like drums that are nailed like this. So another good combination is to use this as sound design like that, and then add a really, really nice limiter, like the vintage, the retro limiter, just to tame it a little. Just shave off a little bit. Anyway, it gives it a lot more character. If you heard it without it, you know, a lot cooler. And once again, in a situation where there's live drums with bands, a lot of the times what I like to use is a cool gate. So going back to the Futz Box, even if you just gated that, you'd get really cool kind of. I mean, that sounds like an MPC, you know? So a lot of times what I do with bands is that we actually take the live drummer, we do something like this to them, and then we resample him into an MPC or push or whatever, slice him, and then we replay his beat as if it was a hip hop kind of a sound, but it's him. And then we add something like this underneath him in parallel. So I'd add another Futz Box after this. Oh. And kind of put it in parallel. Take the filters off. Even more gate, more distortion. So I mean, that almost sounds like a 70s type drums, right? I mean, if you listen back to the original, it's almost funny. And it's cool because if you go to a section that has a lot of cymbals, it gets even better. Like you can lean off a little bit on the gate. I mean, that kick sounds huge. So this is the original. almost no kick, no punch on the snare. The cymbals are louder than the snare. Than the kick. So, it's like endless what you can do. Literally just with his pack of plugins, you can make the stuff sound like Nine Inch Nails. You can make it sound like Steely Dan. You can make it sound like anything. It's like dope.
You should do sound design for a living.
Huh?
You should do sound design for a living. Wait, never mind.
Oh yeah. So yeah, it's funny because he gets a lot of guys here like Andrew Sheps and all that are just awesome. Like I can't do what they do, but I'm kind of I'm the guy that doesn't use them right. So, but they come out with interesting. They come out with interesting combinations. So yeah, I can go on all day. You can take any track and there's a use for it.